Picture the scene. There I was, scrolling through my security camera alerts, and I've got 60 plus motion alerts to filter through. A leaf, a cobweb, my cat, another cobweb, what might be a ghost, but it's probably just a reflection. And, oh look, somebody actually stole a package off my doorstep, but I got so many damn alerts that I ignored the one that actually mattered. Fantastic. Traditional motion detection is rubbish, but what if your cameras could actually understand what they're looking at? What if they knew the difference between your cat and a criminal? That's where Frigate comes in, and it's brilliant. So, what the heck is Frigate? Welcome to Foxy's Lab. I'm Foxy, and in this series I explain complex smart home, IoT and home lab concepts in a way that makes sense. In this episode we're talking about Frigate, an open source network video recorder that uses AI to actually understand what your security cameras are seeing. So, go grab a coffee, I'll get one too, then we'll get into it. Frigate is an NVR with a brain. Traditional NVRs just record video. Maybe they trigger on motion, but usually that's it. A leaf blows past and you get an alert. A car drives by on the street and you get an alert. Your cat exists and you get 20 alerts. Frigate does real-time AI object detection. It watches your camera feeds and identifies what it's looking at, be it a person, car, dog, package. It actually knows the difference. And here's the crucial bit. All of this happens locally on your hardware. There's no cloud processing unless you want there to be, so nothing leaves your network. Your private footage stays private. Here's a quick history. Frigate was created by Blake Blackshear in 2019 because he was fed up with the options available for local security camera processing. Cloud NVRs sent your footage to corporate servers for them to do who knows what with and then have the nerve to charge you for that as well. Traditional NVRs couldn't tell a car from a cabbage. Blake wanted an AI object detection system that ran entirely on his own hardware without monthly subscriptions or privacy compromises, so he built it. He open sourced it, and then the community latched on very quickly. Now, the free core software is brilliant on its own, but there's an optional paid service called Frigate Plus that can take things further if you want it. Here's the deal. The default detection models that shift with Frigate are trained on the COCO dataset. That's a standard computer vision dataset with random images from all sorts of scenarios. It works well, but it's not optimized for security camera footage specifically. Frigate Plus models are trained using real images from actual security cameras willingly submitted by Frigate users around the world. This means that they're tuned for the exact type of footage you're analysing, looking down driveways, monitoring doorsteps, that sort of thing. You can upload snapshots from your own cameras and annotate them to create a model fine-tuned for your specific environment. The important bit, and this aligns perfectly with Frigate's privacy-first approach, your video feeds never leave your network. You're only uploading specific snapshots that you choose to submit for training. All of the actual detection still happens locally on your hardware. Also, if you cancel your subscription, you still keep access to any models you've already trained. They're yours. You just can't train new ones anymore.
Sounds fair.
Now, Frigate Plus is not needed at all for a lot of users. The base version works brilliantly, but the 2025.0 model massively expanded what you can detect. Waste bins, delivery vans, robot mowers, all sorts of things that just weren't in the original training set. If you're getting false positives, or you want to detect specific objects in your environment, Frigate Plus can help with that. Alright, let's decode some of the lingo. I'm going to mix general CCTV terms here with ones that are Frigate specific, but I'll let you know which is which. NVR stands for Network Video Recorder. It's a system that records video from IP cameras over your network. Frigate is an NVR, but with significantly more going on under the hood than in your typical NVR box. An IP camera is a camera that connects to your network via Ethernet or Wi-Fi. Unlike old analog CCTV systems that used coaxial cables, IP cameras stream digital video over your network. Most modern security cameras are IP cameras. RTSP is real-time streaming protocol. This is how cameras send video feeds over your network. Any camera that supports RTSP can work with Frigate. Most IP cameras support it, Reolink, Amcrest, Hikvision, even generic Chinese cameras with the RTSP enabled, although be careful with those ones. Check the Gotchas later. Not all cameras support RTSP though. Battery-powered cameras often don't, which means that it's quite hard to get them to work with Frigate if you can at all. So check before you buy, because even within the same brand, some models have it and others don't. ONVIF, or ONVIF, or Open Network Video Interface Forum, but nobody calls it that, is an open standard for IP camera communication. ONVIF cameras can be discovered and configured automatically rather than manually entering stream URLs, and Frigate supports ONVIF for camera discovery and PTZ control. It's an industry standard term, it's not Frigate specific. PTZ stands for pan, tilt, and zoom. These are cameras that can move. Usually they can pan left and right, tilt up and down, and zoom in and out. although sometimes they only have a subset of these features. Frigate can control PTZ cameras, and you can even automate them to track detected objects. Most home security setups use fixed cameras because they're often quite a lot cheaper and more reliable. But PTZ can be brilliant for covering large areas. You've probably seen them used a lot in commercial sites. It's great when somebody's actually manning the camera. Object detection is the AI magic that identifies what's in the video frame. Frigate uses machine learning models to recognize people, cars, dogs, cats, and a heck of a lot more. This isn't just motion detection, this is actual recognition of the thing that is moving. This is where Frigate really shines compared to traditional NVRs. Inference is a general AI term that you'll hear a lot. Inference is the process of actually running an AI model to get results. In this case, taking a video frame and asking the model, what objects are in this image? This is the real-time analysis bit and the reason why Frigate is so useful. We've spoken a bit about models and model training a bit so far, and we'll do so again, but all of that's AI-related stuff. Inference is worth covering specifically here, but the rest of it is a bit out of scope for this episode. If you want to learn more how AIs work, I've got an episode about that too. Stick around till the end and I'll point you to it. A Coral TPU is Google's Edge Tensor Processing Unit, a specialized chip for running machine learning models efficiently. Now, here's where things have recently shifted. The Coral was the go-to recommendation for years, but as of 2025, Frigate documentation no longer recommends it for new installations, except for very low-powered or modest setups. Google actually stopped manufacturing them, and whilst they're still supported and can deliver substantial CPU offloading, which is brilliant for something like a Raspberry Pi or a mini PC where every watt counts, modern alternatives are the better choice now. If you're building a new system, look at GPUs like the Intel Arc A380 or newer accelerators like the Helio 8L. These are more future-proof, they're better supported for the newer enrichments like face and license plate detection, and frankly they're likely to remain usable for much longer. Frigate can run without any accelerator, but honestly, GPU-only inference really struggles beyond 1 or 2 cameras. Right, detection zones. This one is Frigate specific. Zones are areas you define in your camera's view, and they let you control where detected objects trigger events and alerts. You can set it up so Frigate only cares about people who are detected in your driveway and ignores people on the street, or it only creates alerts when your car actually enters your garage. It gives you surgical control over which detections actually matter to you. An event is when Frigate detects an object that you care about. Each event gets a clip, a snapshot, and metadata about what it was, when it was detected, and where. You review them in Frigate's UI, or you can get notifications through something like Home Assistant. Clips and snapshots are general NVR concepts. A clip is a short video recording of an event, and a snapshot is a still image. Frigate can generate these automatically when it detects an object, so you're not scrolling through hours of continuous footage. Continuous recording is exactly what it sounds like. It's recording 24/7 regardless of detection. Frigate supports this, but it eats storage fast. Most people use continuous recording for critical cameras and event-based recording for everything else. A retention policy controls how long recordings and events are kept. You might keep person detections for 30 days, but car detection's only for 7 days. Storage is finite, and retention policies help you to manage it intelligently without having to manually delete your old footage. In my setup, Frigate currently monitors 2 cameras. Each camera gets its feed to Frigate, which is running on Docker on my home server. I've got a Google Coral USB plugged in, and that handles all of the AI inference, and it handles everything without breaking a sweat. I set up detection zones, so I only get alerts that actually matter, because who cares if somebody walks past my house on the pavement? That's not my problem, but somebody walking up my drive? Now that I'm interested in. I also use another tool called Scripted to pass my Frigate cameras into Apple HomeKit, which means I can view them on my TV. But that's a story for an upcoming video, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. Speaking of which, if you're enjoying this video, give me a like and hit subscribe. Are you running security cameras at home? What's your setup? Drop it in the comments, I want to hear what you're using. If there are any topics you'd like to see me cover in a future What the Heck video, let me know in the comments and I'll stick it on the list. Alternatively, you can join our Discord and have a chat to me in there. Links in the description. Because no piece of software is perfect, and Frigate definitely has some rough edges that'll trip you up if you're not expecting them, I'm going to walk you through the stuff that frustrated me when I was getting started, so hopefully you can avoid making the same mistakes. Time for the gotchas. CPU-only inference really struggles with multiple cameras. Frigate can run on CPU inference alone, but you'll manage maybe 1 or 2 cameras at quite a low resolution before your computer starts to cry. An AI accelerator changes the game. Suddenly you're running multiple cameras at high resolution without even trying. The Google Coral TPU was the go-to choice for years, but Google stopped manufacturing them and now they're really hard to find. I've been using the Coral USB for years and it's been brilliant for my modest 2-camera setup, but if you're building a new system today though, you're better off with modern alternatives like an Intel GPU or a Helio accelerator. They're more future-proof and better supported for newer features. That said, if you already have a Coral or you can find one really cheap, it'll absolutely do the job for smaller setups. Frigate also supports using your Intel CPU's graphics chip for acceleration, which is a solid middle ground. If you want a serious Frigate setup though, budget for some form of AI acceleration. It's not technically required, but it's the difference between a painful experience and a brilliant one. Not all cameras are created equal. Some cameras have terrible RTSP implementations, if they have them at all. Laggy streams, authentication issues, random disconnects. I've experienced all of it. Cheap generic cameras can be hit or miss. Reolink and Amcrest generally play nice, but as I mentioned earlier, make sure you check before you buy, as many of the battery-powered ones do not have RTSP available. I'll drop links to a couple of solid Reolink models in the description that work brilliantly with Frigate. Unify cameras in particular are a special case. They work with Frigate, but Unify have their own NVR ecosystem, and really they're designed to work with that, so you might run into quirks. If you're already invested in Unify, they'll do the job, but I wouldn't buy them specifically for Frigate. I'd check the Frigate documentation for recommended camera models before you buy anything. Community testing saves you a headache. Also, check out the Hookup channel on YouTube. Robert is a legend in the smart home community, and cameras are one of his specialties, so I highly recommend you sift through his back catalogue to see if he talks about a camera you are interested in. Storage can fill up fast. Video eats disk space, and continuous recording on multiple cameras can consume terabytes in no time at all. You need to be strategic with retention policies and decide what's worth keeping long term. For the actual detection events that you care about, keep them for as long as you want, but general motion detection, I wouldn't keep them more than a few days. Plan your storage capacity before you start recording everything. It's usually worth using a solid state drive or a high-speed platter drive for CCTV footage as well. I use an SSD cache drive in my Unraid setup, and it handles multiple camera streams without it being a problem. Slower drives can sometimes struggle with this sort of data load, but specialist spinning drives made for NVRs do exist. I've had one myself and it was great, but I'd still recommend an SSD in this day and age. Initial configuration can be fiddly. Frigate uses YAML configuration files. Getting camera streams working, tuning detection zones, setting up motion masks, and optimizing performance can require some trial and error. The documentation is excellent, but don't expect everything to work perfectly immediately. You'll probably need to spend time tweaking some settings and adjusting some zones and making sure your hardware is adequate. Stability really depends on getting those zones and motion masks tuned properly, but once you've done that work, it runs like a dream. It is getting better with each release. Some stuff can now be configured in the UI, and over time I would expect this to increase. Network bandwidth matters. Multiple high-resolution camera streams generate significant network traffic. Wi-Fi cameras can struggle. Hardwired cameras on a gigabit Ethernet connection are vastly better. If you're running 4 cameras over Wi-Fi and wondering why everything's choppy, that's why. And if you're going wired, which you absolutely should, a PoE switch makes life so much easier since you're powering the cameras through the same cable that carries the data. Zones might not work the way you think they do. This trips a lot of us up at first. Zones only control where detected objects trigger events. They don't control motion detection itself. Frigate still processes motion across your entire camera frame and runs object detection on anything that moves. Zones just filter which successful object detections actually create events and alerts. So if you're expecting zones to reduce your CPU load, they won't. Zones are purely for filtering which detections you care about seeing. If you are using a camera that you got from China or a really cheap product that hasn't got a really solid brand, be careful about putting it on your network. There have been reports of cameras phoning home. You don't want that. You can put them on a separate network or a separate VLAN at the very least. I'll talk about that in a future video, but for the time being, just be aware of the cameras you are buying. Rule 1. Use detection zones liberally. False positives will drive you mad. Define zones that focus on areas you actually care about. I don't need alerts every time a car drives past my house. I do need alerts when someone enters my driveway. Zones make that distinction possible. Rule 2. Hardwire your cameras if possible. I know, running Ethernet can be a pain, but as I said earlier, Wi-Fi cameras can be unreliable. Streams drop, latency spikes, and recordings get choppy. Cable is king. If you can possibly hardwire your cameras, do it. If you do have Wi-Fi cameras, try not to have too many. You don't want to choke your bandwidth out. If you can put them on a separate network entirely, that's even better. Rule 3. Set realistic retention policies. Don't keep everything forever, you'll run out of storage in a week. Be realistic about what you actually need to keep. You don't need to keep the alerts when it detects your cat. Well, maybe keep them just for a few days, just in case 1 or 2 of them are Instagram worthy. Here's a few bonus tips that'll make your Frigate experience smoother. These ones are not really rules as much as they are just good advice. Start small and build up gradually. Get 1 camera working perfectly and then add more. Learn how detection zones work, tune your retention policies, and get to grips with the UI. Trying to configure 5 cameras at once is a recipe for frustration. Build your knowledge incrementally. Try to stick with the same camera models, or at least manufacturers. Having to manually configure cameras from various obscure Chinese camera brands is such a headache. Trust me on that one. If I could start again today, I would go 100% Reolink. They make really good cameras at a not exactly cheap, but nonetheless very reasonable price. Consider integrating with Home Assistant. Frigate's UI is functional on its own, but if you're already running Home Assistant, the integration is brilliant. Notifications, automations, dashboard cards, everything becomes significantly more powerful. That said, Frigate works perfectly fine by itself if Home Assistant isn't your thing. If you're just starting out with Frigate, the official documentation is genuinely excellent. Blake and the community have put a serious effort into making it comprehensive. They also have a vibrant Discord community where people share configurations and troubleshoot issues. I've learnt loads just by lurking there. So that's Frigate, the open sourced MVR that uses AI to actually understand what your security cameras are seeing, all running locally on your own hardware with no cloud dependency. It's powerful, privacy respecting, and once you've got it configured, genuinely transformative for home security. No more wading through hours of footage of shadows and cats and ghosts. Oh my! Just the events that actually matter. What the Heck is an ongoing series where I explain the ins and outs of tech. I try to post a new video every week, usually on a Monday, so if you want to be notified when the next episode drops, hit the bell and YouTube will make sure you're kept in the loop. If you haven't already, go check out the What the Heck Home Assistant episode. It's the perfect companion to Frigate and will take your smart home to the next level. Or, if you're curious about what AI models are, I've got a video about that too. Check them out. Ta-ra!